Operation Epic Fury. The Democrats just tried to stab our troops in the back while they're engaged in combat operations against Iran, and they failed spectacularly by a single vote. House Democrats watched their desperate attempt to hamstring President Trump's Operation Epic Fury crash and burn 213 to 214. That's how close the radical left came to undermining American military power on the world stage. But here's what the media won't tell you. While Democrats were playing politics, President Trump was playing chess. And Iran is now begging to make a deal. What happens next? We'll have you cheering. So let me be clear about what just happened and why it matters to you and your family. The Democrats, in their blind hatred of President Trump, try to force our military to stand down while Iran's nuclear program threatens every American city. Think about that. They wanted to tie the hands of our commanders while the Iranian regime still pursues weapons capable of reaching your hometown. But this is bigger than politics. Secretary of War just delivered a message that should terrify Tehran's leadership. America's military capabilities are not the same as theirs. We're reloading, we're getting stronger. They're digging out of rubble with no ability to rebuild. General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, confirmed our forces remain postured and ready to resume major combat operations at literally a moment's notice. This is American strength. This is what happens when you have a commander-in-chief who doesn't apologize for winning. The free world depends on us stopping a nuclear Iran, and President Trump refuses to let partisan games endanger American lives. And speaking of American strength and strategic dominance, there's breaking news on another front that directly impacts our national security. You see, the White House just announced over $30 billion to secure America's critical mineral supply chains, and they named a specific Alaskan project as a key strategic asset for U.S. mineral independence. I've personally been to the Vizsla copper drilling site in Canada myself. I've seen it with my own eyes, and what's happening in Alaska right now is bigger than most people realize. President Trump just unveiled Project Vault. It's a $12 billion strategic minerals reserve designed to stockpile essential resources and keep America self-reliant. This is exactly the kind of forward-thinking leadership that we need. While we're projecting strength abroad against Iran, we're building strength right here at home. Now pay attention, because Vizsla Copper trades in the U.S., and write this down, it's on the screen, under VCUFF, and in Canada as VCU.V. Check the exclusive briefing. It's only for Next News viewers. It's linked below to see why this Alaskan project matters for American energy independence and national security. We thank Vizsla for supporting our work. Now, let's get back to the incredible developments unfolding with Iran and Operation Epic Fury. I'm going to tell you what makes this moment historic. Stephen Miller laid out the truth that our so-called NATO allies do not want to hear. A nuclear-armed Iran threatens every capital in Europe, yet NATO refuses to help. And Miller said the quiet part out loud. The entire European welfare state was built off the backs of American military might. Their long weekends, their long holidays, all subsidized by our soldiers, our Marines, our taxpayer dollars. President Trump says that the free ride is over. While Europe sits on the sidelines, Trump is getting results they never could. So let's take a look at exactly what our leaders are saying, starting with the Secretary of War with a message to Iranian leadership.
With a message to Iran's military leadership, to the KH leadership and IRGC leadership, we're watching you. Our capabilities are not the same, our military and yours. Remember, this is not a fair fight. And we know what military assets you are moving and where you are moving them to. While you are digging out, which is exactly what you're doing, digging out of bombed out and devastated facilities, we are only getting stronger. You are digging out your remaining launchers and missiles with no ability to replace them. You have no defense industry, no ability to replenish your offensive or defensive capabilities. You only have what you have. You know that, and we know that. You can move things around, but you can't actually rebuild. You can dig out for now, but you can't reconstitute. But we can. We are reloading with more power than ever before, and better intelligence, even more importantly, better intelligence than ever before, as you expose yourself with your movement to our watchful eye. We are locked and loaded on your critical dual-use infrastructure, on your remaining power generation, and on your energy industry. We'd rather not have to do it, but we're ready to go at the command of our president and at the push of a button. This blockade, which the chairman will detail this morning, is the polite way that this can go. Your energy is not moving and will not move, and we can do this all day. But it's not destroyed yet. Your energy industry is not destroyed yet. You like to say publicly, Iran, that you control the Strait of Hormuz, but you don't have a navy or real domain awareness. You can't control anything. To be clear, threatening to shoot missiles and drones at ships, commercial ships that are lawfully transiting international waters, that is not control. That's piracy. That's terrorism. The United States Navy controls the traffic going in and out of the strait because we have real assets and real capabilities. And we're doing this blockade, performing it with less than 10% of America's naval power. The math is clear. We're using 10% of the world's most powerful navy, and you have 0% of your navy. That's real control, and we have a long track record of dealing with pirates and terrorists. But there is an alternative. As our negotiators have said, you, Iran, can choose a prosperous future, a golden bridge, and we hope that you do for the people of Iran. In the meantime, and for as long as it takes, we will maintain this blockade, successful blockade. But if Iran chooses poorly, then they will have a blockade and bombs dropping on infrastructure, power, and energy. And at the same time, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and our friends over at Treasury are launching Operation Economic Fury as well, maximizing economic pressure across the entirety of the government. To Iran, choose wisely.
Choose wisely. After a bold message from the Department of War signaling readiness from Iran, we now hear from the Joint Chiefs ready to re-engage at a moment's notice.
Last week, the President of the United States directed a ceasefire that temporarily paused major combat operations in Iran. The unprecedented effort by America's joint force during Operation Epic Fury set the conditions for this ceasefire. And as the Secretary said, I'd like to emphasize during this pause that the United States joint force remains postured and ready to resume major combat operations at literally a moment's notice.
A moment's notice. All Trump has to do is pick up the phone and say, do it. Now we go to Stephen Miller. President Trump has made clear.
Nuclear-armed Iran, an Iran with medium-range or long-range ballistic missiles tipped with nuclear warheads, is a direct threat to every capital in Europe. We are doing this not only in defense of America, but in defense of the free world. And NATO doesn't want to help. NATO doesn't want to assist. The same NATO that the United States has been subsidizing with our taxpayer dollars for generations, the entire European welfare state was built off the backs of American military might. We invested in our military while they invested in their welfare state and their long weekends and their long holidays, all paid for by us, by our soldiers, by our Marines, by our airmen, our sailors. And President Trump has said the free ride is over, Sean. But the most important thing right now is seeing this mission through to completion. And again, President Trump has made clear he wants peace, he wants a deal, he wants Iran to choose the right path, but he will not allow Iran to pursue or achieve nuclear weapons. And this embargo and every other option is on the table as President Trump seeks that final, safe, secure outcome for the people of the world.
Safe and secure outcome. The Democrat War Powers resolution, which intends to block President Trump from continuing Operation Epic Fury, failed in the House, 213 to 214. H-Con Res 40.
On this vote, the yeas are 213, the nays are 214, with one answering present.
Wow.
The concurrent resolution is not adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
That's how close it was. With the Democrat resolution faltering, President Trump underscores his strategy to Iran. They must agree to a peace deal. Here's the president in the gaggle outside the Oval Office.
Extending the ceasefire with Iran.
With who?
With Iran.
We're doing very well, I can tell you. Maybe it'll happen before that. I'm not sure it needs to be extended. Just so you know, Iran wants to make a deal, and we're dealing very nicely with them. We've got to have no nuclear weapons. If we do, that's a big factor. And they're willing to do things today that they weren't willing to do 2 months ago.
That's not all. President Trump says they're all agreeing.
With Lebanon, it's very exciting. I think we're going to have a deal. We're going to have a meeting, first time in 44 years. And Lebanon will be meeting with Israel, and they're probably going to do it at the White House.
When do you think, President, when do you think they will?
Over the next week or two.
Or the next week, and do you think this agreement can reach?
I do. I think
without
they're going
Hezbollah
I
agreeing
think
to
we
the
will have an
agreement?
agreement between Lebanon, and they're going to take care of Hezbollah. But they're going to be working on Hezbollah right now. But we'll have an agreement between Israel, very importantly, and Lebanon.
Will you support our Lebanese army as well?
I would. Yeah.
Iran's going to execute.
Has Hezbollah agreed to the ceasefire? I mean, how do you even?
They're all agreeing. It's a very nice little package for about a week, and we're not going to have lots of bombs dropping, and we're going to see if we can make peace between Lebanon and Israel.
Peace. Peace. But will there be peace? Reporter asks about Israel and Lebanon trying to make peace before.
Israel and Lebanon have tried to make peace before. What's going to be the difference this time?
Me. I'm with it. Big difference. Me.
Of course, President Trump. The difference is President Trump. And he warns Iran if they don't accept a peace deal.
Would you be willing to extend the ceasefire, or will the fighting resume, Mr. President?
I would say the fighting. If there's no deal, fighting resume.
Okay.
If there's no deal, the fighting resumes. Like I said, all he's got to do is pick up the call and give the order. President Trump, he was asked point blank, Israel, Lebanon, tried to make peace before. What's going to be different this time is one word, me. That's leadership. That's the confidence of a man who knows that he's winning. Iran, a regime that laughed at Obama and Biden, is now coming to the table willing to do things they refused to do just years ago. Why? Because they watched Operation Epic Fury systematically destroy their military capabilities. They have no defense industry. They have no ability to replenish. They can dig out, they can't rebuild. President Trump offered them a golden bridge to prosperity, and he warned them, choose poorly, and it's blockades and bombs. So what you just witnessed is the difference between an America First foreign policy and the weakness of the previous administration. Democrats tried to stop it. They failed. NATO tried to ignore it. Well, they're irrelevant. Iran tried to resist it. Now they're begging for a deal. This is what American strength looks like when you have a president who actually fights for American interests. So the question is simple. Do you support President Trump standing firm against a nuclear Iran? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments and tell me why. Let your voice be heard. And since you watched this entire video, text raw feed to 844-840-4963. That's how we get around the blockade that is suppressing our content. That's not sending you notifications. I will send you a message directly, right from our system, directly to you, from me to you, right to your phone. When news breaks, you'll be the first to know, not the last. Now, I do still want you to make sure you're subscribed. I still want you to hit the notification bell. I don't want you to miss these updates. If you want to show your support for America First journalism, check out the Next News merch shelf below this video and share this report with every patriot you know, because the mainstream media will never tell this story. I'm Gary Franchi for the Next News Network. Stay informed and stay free.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.